Good morning, all. I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone this morning. Welcome to all members of council that are joining us both in person and virtually this morning. Welcome to our staff that will provide us facts and information so we can make decisions in the best interest of the corporation of the County of Huron and our residents, both full-time and seasonal residents. Welcome also to any members of the public that are joining us this morning and to the media. Meetings of council are live streamed on the Township's official website in accordance with the live streaming and virtual participation of meetings policy. Do any members of council have a pecuniary interest or general nature thereof to indicate at this time of any agenda item that we have today? Okay, thank you. We have the minutes for approval of the 4th day of February, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these minutes. Deputy Mayor moves, Councillor Hickey seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby adopts the February 4th, 2025 council meeting minutes as written. Do we have any questions on these minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Open forum is an opportunity for any members of the public to make any comments that they would care to at this time regarding any agenda item that we have today. We do not have any members in the chambers this morning at this time. Unfortunately, moving on to number 5, Louisa is unavailable to be here today. She is ill, and so that will be deferred to a future meeting. So we'll move on to Treasury and payment of the current accounts. A mover and a seconder for these, please. Councillor Forrester moves. Councillor Blake seconds that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby authorizes the payments of the February 2025 accounts as presented. Do we have any questions on these lines? And I'll go first to Councillor Forrester, please.
Okay, thanks, Glenn. It's AIRDS and it's the Integrity Commissioner. What's that for?
For the integrity.
What? Like
Investigations.
Yeah, it's on.
Sorry, that's for investigations.
Okay, like for council matters?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. 6.2 is the payment of the previous month's accounts, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder for this, please. And it would be Councillor Miltenberg and Snoblin, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council hereby approves the payment of the January 2025 accounts in the amount of $1,178,000 or $178,964.48. Do we have any questions on any of these numbers? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. The summary revenue/expenditure reports, I would entertain a mover and a seconder for these, please. And that is Councillor Hickey moves, Councillor Miltenberg seconds, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council adopts the summary revenue/expenditure reports as written for the Township, the Lucknow and District Medical Center, and the Lucknow and District Recreation to January 31, 2025. Do we have any questions on any of these numbers? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. The 2024 year-end reserves are listed there, and it would be suggested to transfer these to the appropriate reserves for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Would entertain a mover and a seconder for that, and then we'll have any discussion. That would be Councillor Miltenberg moves. Councillor Blake seconds. Any discussion on any of these numbers? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I just have a question. I think it's a good idea. I'm just wondering, looks like there's going to be $100,000 that we're moving into reserves for the building because of the grader. How will we see that at budget time? Will we see it, the numbers suggested as if that $100,000 is already off, or will we be looking at it and then subtracting $100,000, if that makes sense?
Thanks for the question. I'll defer to our CAO, please.
So using the grader as an example, the Public Works Superintendent will include the grader in the 2025 budget with the revenue coming in from reserves.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Councillor Miltenberg?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We have nothing under planning this morning. On to the building department, and the chief building official's report has been presented to us. It is for information purposes. Do we have any questions on this report of Joy? Not? Great work, Joy, to yourself and your staff, colleagues. The 8.2 is the Casual Chief Building Officials Appointment Bylaw. We have been provided that in a report. Do we have any questions on this? And if not, I'll ask for show of hands for consideration of this in Section 18 as a bylaw. And that is supported by Council. Thank you. Under Administration, 9.1 is the Alternative Voting Method Bylaw, and it is coming back to Council this morning for consideration as a bylaw. Do we have any questions on this? And if not, I'll ask for show of hands if we're in support of considering this in Section 18 as a bylaw. Opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. The ward boundary consideration has been provided to Council also, and it is for information purposes. Do we have any questions on this? Councillor Hickey, please.
Thank you. Can we defer this for some time to get some good feedback from the people of ACW to know their feelings on this issue? There seems to be a lot going on right now with snow removal and other topics on the agenda. I just haven't had enough time to review this, please.
Okay, I will defer to our clerk, please.
Certainly. We have until the end of the year to let Elections Ontario know of any divisions. There is some timelines and whatnot and some advertising things, so I'd rather not leave this to the last meeting in December. Just, okay?
So it'll be for a future meeting. Okay. So, yep, clerk, please.
Just so that there's a bit of a timeline in place, I think we should maybe set a time when, like how long, when would you like to see this back?
I'm not picky on the time, but just a little more time. There's just a lot going on the agenda and snow removal and everything right now. It's just been a lot to look at.
Okay, I'm going to go to Councillor Miltenberg and then Deputy Mayor Vanstone, please.
I'd like to see it on the next agenda. I understand there's a lot in snow removal. I've been doing it myself. However, I have a lot of people affiliated as volunteers, and they've been asking for extra work since they're stuck in their houses and they're on their computer all the time. So while councillors may be struggling with it, I don't think necessarily the general public needs more time. So I would suggest we put it on the next meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Deputy Mayor, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to see it brought back July so that we have some warm weather and time to look at it, because it is a contentious issue and not everybody's had their time to sit on their computer and look at it. So I'm suggesting July or end of June.
Okay, we have a suggestion. Okay, Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I would like to suggest that this is a predominantly agricultural region. And if we actually want people's input, July and June are very, very busy. And I suspect it's going to be a late spring. So I'm guessing May is going to be really busy. I think March or April is far more appropriate if we're actually looking for people's input. But Councillor Hickey indicated that it was his input. So I'm not happy pushing it off that long.
Okay, fair enough. Councillor Hickey, please.
I'd be happy with April. It just gives us a little more time just to talk to the people of the public and hear what their ideas are for that. Thank you.
Okay, the suggestion has been to April, and I'll look for a consensus from council if we would like this brought back to our April meeting, and I'd ask for a show of hands for that. And that is supported by council. So if staff could bring that back to an April meeting. Perfect. Thank you. 10.1 is the Veolia Water Operations and Maintenance Report for information purposes. Do we have any questions on this? Seeing none, nothing for drainage today. Under Public Works, we have a gravel tender, and I would entertain a mover and a seconder to accept this tender, and then we'll have discussion on it. Councillor Miltenberg moves. Councillor Forrester seconds that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council accept the tender received from Wesley Riley Contracting Company and authorize pre-budget approval in the amount of $419,004, even money, including HST, for the 2025 maintenance gravel. Now, any questions or comments on this? Seeing none? Nope. Seeing none. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. We also have a calcium tender that has come in for consideration, and I will ask for a mover and a seconder for this. Councillor Blake and Snoblin. that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council accept the lowest bid received from Daily Dust Control Limited and authorize pre-budget approval in the amount of $253,583.50, including HST, to supply and apply approximately 475 tons of liquid calcium chloride for 2025. Any questions or comments on this? If not, all in favor of the motion? And that is carried. 12.3 is the curbside pickup proposal by Waste Management. Unfortunately, Louisa could not be here from Waste Management as far as to make any comments and for us to have the opportunity to ask any questions of that. How would council, do we have any questions on this at this time? I guess I'd like questions first. Deputy Mayor, please, and then Councillor Snowden.
Yeah, could we have her back at another meeting? Because I would like to talk to her and get some input. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. Councillor Snowden.
Thank you. Is there a way to maybe reach out to Ms. Adstadt to, I guess, have her take some consideration into the bins? That would be possible. There's been some phone calls and correspondence related to the bins, particularly in the Lakeshore area, where folks don't see that it's possible physically to roll a bin uphill half a kilometer. Is there any way that we could give her that information ahead of time so when she does come back that she's fully prepared?
Okay, thank you for that. CAO, please.
I guess I should have mentioned earlier, she's going to come to our next meeting. She's already been rescheduled. And she's already prepared to address the Lakeshore bins because she realizes that it's not feasible and she has another plan in place. So,
okay,
and I don't want to take her speech away from her, so I'd rather her just present it rather than me because she knows more about it than I do. So, thank you.
Thank you for that, CAO. Follow up, Councillor Snowden, please.
And I understand that and I appreciate and respect that. I said myself personally, I find it just a little difficult to get the information the day that we have to make the decision. So is there any way that we could get any kind of prior information aside from the Thursday or Friday before the next meeting that we would have to digest it and look into it a little further without, as you say, sort of taking away from her presentation?
Okay, thank you for that. CAO, please.
I'll reach out to her. Yep.
Okay, thank you. You're good with that? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, further to Anita's question, should we struggle with the information, the presentation, even if we're giving it to ahead of a time, is there a deadline for passing that motion that we have, the acceptance? Like if we're still not happy with the answer, is like when does the current contract run out, I guess? Is there a time frame this needs to be done in? Because we're already deferring it 1 week, so I assume it's not critical.
Okay, thank you for that. CAO, please.
The contract expires April 30th, so we have some time.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hickey, please.
So could I suggest maybe if she's coming the first meeting in March to present to us, could we bring 12.3 back on the second meeting in March? Is that acceptable?
Okay, thank you for the question. I'll defer to our CAO, please.
That's exactly what I want to happen. Yep, thank you.
Okay, we're good with that? All right, so would you like a show of hands to defer?
Just a show of hands.
Yeah. Do you have a follow-up, Councillor Snowden, please?
Well, I hesitate to go to the report that's in our agenda when the presenter isn't here. But in the report, it does mention the difference between biweekly and weekly garbage and the annual rate. And I know you're under a deadline. I know it's kind of late. Is there any way that we could take a census of folks that get the pickup as to whether or not they'd be willing to spend that extra amount of money for a weekly pickup? I know it seems like quite a difference, but I guess it's only an issue if people have a problem paying it. I think I saw in the report, I just don't have it in front of me. I think it was a difference of around $100 a year. Does that sound right? Yeah. And I thought to myself, if it was me, I'd pay the extra per year to get the weekly garbage pickup. But I don't know if it's at all possible to do a rough survey or census of some sort. I guess I'd look to staff to see if that's a possibility.
Okay, I'll defer to staff for comment on that, please.
Again, you appreciate, I'm just hearing this for the first time. I haven't really wrapped my head around how you would do that in such a short period of time. So, so I looked to anyone else if they have any suggestions, because that's a quick turnaround time.
Okay, I see Councillor Miltenberg would like to make a comment, please.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I appreciate Anita's comments. My reaction was, oh, I wouldn't pay $100 for it. And I think just looking at the makeup of our community, there are those who use the garbage pickup. There are those who have space to store the garbage pickup for 2 weeks. And there's those who have smaller properties or perhaps seasonal and would like it more often. And I think that no matter what, you're going to get a mix. And then as a council, we're going to have to decide how to weigh each one in a short amount of time. I think that it's just not really feasible, or at least I wouldn't be confident the results were accurate because there wasn't enough time to publicize it and get answers back. And I think that just like when we talk about alternative methods of voting, we're aware that some people want one, but perhaps the vast majority wants the other, and we have to wrap around our own heads about what we think our constituents want, because that's why we're ruling this way as opposed to opinions on everything. So, like I said, while I appreciate Anita's comments, I just don't see that any results we got in that short amount of time, I would be confident were accurate anyway. And I think we just have to do the best that we can. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, thank you for that. So we will defer this to a following meeting after we have a presentation from Louise on this. Is that okay? Everyone? Okay. We'll move on to council reports. Do any members of council have any committee reports that they would like to comment at this time? And I'll go first to Councillor Hickey, please.
Thank you. I got 2 reports to give. One, just a community event I'd like to share about, and then for a committee I'm on. The community event was the Ron Brindley Memorial Snowmobile Show and Swap that happened in Dungannon 2 weeks ago, I believe, February 15th, 16th maybe. It's been a couple years since they've had good luck with the snow, and they actually were able to get the machines off the trailers this year, so that was different. It was a large turnout of people, and it was another successful, great event for ACW. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. The Maitland Valley Conservation Authority annual general meeting was canceled last week due to the weather. It's now scheduled for tomorrow, February 16th or February 26th, pardon me, at 2 p.m. in the Blythe Festival Hall. All are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? I'll go to Councillor Miltenberg next, please.
Sure, this is a St. Helens Hall report. Our meeting was also canceled due to weather, but there was an event, which was their Valentine's Day event. It was extremely successful. The funds have been turned in to the township, and I believe they were asked to put in reserves, although that was kind of a conversation because we didn't have the meeting, but that will be happening. And I think we're waiting for the meeting till the snow goes down a bit. But it was a successful event, and they appreciated those who came.
Perfect. Thank you for that. Any additional committee reports? Councillor Snowden, please.
Thank you. You'll, I guess, note that in the agenda 15.1 is the Goderich Fire Committee request. I did attend that meeting on January the 7th, and this was part of the result of that meeting was the new piece of equipment.
Okay, thank you for that. Anything additional? I would like to comment that last Friday night, I attended the annual firefighter appreciation celebration for the staff of both the Ripley and the Lucknow Fire Department volunteer firefighters. There were numerous recognitions. that were made at that time. And Steve Bushell was recognized for 15 years of service at the Lucknow District Station. And also our newly appointed chief, Jeff Bradley, was recognized for 20 years of service. It was well attended, and the firefighters and their partners, spouses, really, I offered our thanks on behalf of all of our residents of ACW for everything that they do to keep us safe. And always the recognition of individuals is very, very important. So I wanted to share that. Is there anything under new business that anyone would like to bring forward for a future meeting? Seeing none, we have correspondence for consideration and actually for direction. And that is, as Councillor Snowblood had indicated, the Goderich Fire Committee, the frontline pumper. And I would entertain a mover and a seconder for this, and then we will have open it up to any discussion. Councillor Miltenberg and Hickey move that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council approves the purchase of a new stock pumper truck by the Goderich Fire Committee. Questions, comments? Councillor Miltenberg, please.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we have a sense of what our portion of that will be.
Thanks for the question. CAO, please.
I'm pulling this out of the blue. I think it's 30%, I think.
I would concur with that. Councillor Snowblood?
32%, $350,000, $350,917.
Okay, thank you for that. Does that answer your question, Councillor Miltenberg, or follow up?
Yeah, it'd be 359 plus the interest yearly. Is that how they're going to calculate it? Over 5 years or something like that, or the details are not clear yet?
Councillor Snowblood, do you have anything on that, please?
Yes, Goderich, the town of Goderich is paying for it in full, and then each township, each municipality will be paying it back. I'm not certain of the details on that. Perhaps CAO has that information.
Okay, thank you. CAO, please.
In the letter there, you'll see the repayment of the borrowing plus interest will be included in the annual fire budgets over the next several years until the debt is fully repaid.
Good to that, Councillor Miltenberg. Cool. Any further questions or comments? We have a motion moved and seconded. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. Thank you. Correspondence for information is the McKay Centre for Seniors, the approval for the Dungannon. That is certainly good news. Under unfinished business is the OGRE conference, March 30th to April 2nd, that I'm registered for. AMO, Councillor Miltenberger and myself in August are registered for. We'll move now into the bylaws. And is it okay to go around the room with everyone on this? So first would be the alternative voting method, and it would be moved by Deputy Mayor Vanstone, seconded by Councillor Snowblood, that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 11-2025, being a bylaw to authorize voting by internet and telephone as the alternative voting method for the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh in the 2026 municipal election, and then it now be read severally a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of February 2025. All in favor of the motion? And that is opposed? And that is carried. Thank you. The amendment for the casual CBO appointment would be moved by Councillor Hickey, seconded by Councillor Miltenberg. The leave be given to introduce bylaw number 12-2025, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 19-2014, being a bylaw to provide the appointment of casual chief building officials for the corporation of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh, and then it now be read severally a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of February 2025. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. We do not have a closed session today. And so the confirmatory bylaw would be moved by Councillor Forrester, seconded by Councillor Blake. The leave be given to introduce bylaw number 13-2025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Township of Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Council meeting held on February 25, 2025, and then it now be read severally a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 25th day of February 2025. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. And the adjournment would be made by Councillor Forrester, seconded by Councillor Miltenberg, that Ashfield-Colborne-Wawanosh Township Council does now adjourn to meet again on the 4th day of March 2025, a week from today, at 9 a.m. or at the call of the mayor. All in favor of the motion? And that is carried. And thank you very much to everyone. And please enjoy the sunshine that we have in the warmer temperatures. Thank you.